Section 4.4, Day 3. We don't have new notes today. We're doing a review with whiteboards, but I'm going to go over a few things from the lesson just in case you missed this because it's an important review. Okay, our first slide, we have 4 different lines written, and then what we're looking for is the parallel slope and the perpendicular slope. So the first equation is written in slope-intercept form. So you can see the slope is -2 in the original equation. Parallel slopes stay the same. So the slope of any line parallel to that original line would be -2 also. Then perpendicular slopes, we say flip and change. So that means the reciprocal of the fraction and the opposite sign. So the perpendicular slope for -2 would be +1/2. The next 3 equations are not written in slope-intercept form. So we need to rewrite them. So I'm subtracting 2x because it's on the wrong side, and then I'm writing it in order, slope-intercept form. So -2x plus 12, and then dividing everything by -3 to get the y by itself. So y equals, the slope will simplify to +2/3 because a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and then the intercept divides evenly to -4. So my slope would stay the same for parallel, and then flip and change for perpendicular. So flip it over and change the sign. The next 2 are similar to that one. So I add 3x, 4y equals 3x minus 8, writing them side by side, and then divide everything by 4. So y equals 3/4 x minus 2. So parallel slopes stay the same, perpendicular, flip, and change. So it will become -4/3. The bottom one, I would need to subtract x on each side. So -2y equals -1x plus 6. Notice I'm putting the 1 in front of the x because when I go to divide everything by -2, I want to see that coefficient. So it will reduce to +1/2, and then the intercept -3. So parallel slope would stay 1/2, and perpendicular would flip and change. So -2 would be the perpendicular slope. So be careful with your signs, and if you need to do the rewriting, take your time on that. Okay, now we're switching gears here. I want you to graph the line y equals 3x minus 1. So the slope is 3, or 3/1, and the y-intercept is -1. So I start out at -1 on the y-axis, then I use the slope, because slope is rise over run. From that intercept, I rise 3, run 1 to the right. Rise 3, run 1. So here is my original line. Now, in blue it says graph a line that's parallel to your line. So I need a line that's parallel to this new one, so that means I've got to keep the slope the same. So my slope has to be 3, up 3/1. So I can put a point anywhere I want to draw this line. So I think I'm just going to put one right here, up 3/1, and draw my line. Now, in red it says, write an equation for your new line. Well, my new line has an intercept of 3 right here, an intercept of 3, and the slope was going up 3/1. So my new line is y equals 3x plus 3. 3x plus 3. That's just one example of a line that's parallel to that original. So you're graphing your own. The next one, graph the line. So to graph this, I'm going to rewrite it first. So subtract 4x on both sides. Negative 2y equals negative 4x plus 8. Divide by negative 2. Y equals 2x minus 4. So start at negative 4 and go up 2 over 1. You always start at your y-intercept. Okay, so now my slope, this time my slope is 2. So I need to graph a line parallel to this line. So I think I'll just start right here and use my same slope of 2. Here's my parallel line. My line has a slope of 2. It has a slope 2. And it has a y-intercept of 0. This one has a y-intercept of 0. So y equals 2x. And that's it. Because I don't have to write the plus 0. Okay. Switching over a little bit here. Graph this line. So start at negative 4. And my slope up 2 over 3. We're switching a little bit here though because my new line has to be perpendicular. Perpendicular. So I take my slope, I have to flip it and change the sign. So graph a line that's perpendicular to my line. All right, so I need a line with a slope of negative 3 over 2. So I'm going to put a point right here because it doesn't matter where you put the point. Go down 3 over 2, down 3 over 2, draw my line. Okay, my new line has a slope of negative 3 over 2, and it has a y-intercept of 2. So y equals negative 3 halves x plus 2. That's my new line. One more like that. Solve this by adding 2x on both sides. 3y equals 2x plus 12. Divide by 3. Y equals 2/3 x plus 4. So start at 4, up 2 over 3. Draw my line. My new slope, 2/3, I have to change, so flip and change, so negative 3 over 2. So I'm just going to start right here, go down 3 over 2, then draw my line. So my new slope was negative 3 over 2. My y-intercept, I can pick anything I want. I picked negative 1 on this one. So y equals negative 3 halves x minus 1. Minus 1. So on these last 4 examples, the only requirement that we were given was that our new line had to be either parallel or perpendicular to the original line. On this next one, it's going to be more specific. So now we have graphed the line. So I'm going to graph the original line, start at 5, go down 2 over 1, and this one's going to be more specific. So I've got my original line. My new line, I have to graph the point negative 2, 1. My new line has to be parallel to the first line, and it has to go through that point, So I've got to use that point. So my original line is here, y equals negative 2x plus 5. Now I've got this new point, negative 2, 1. So parallel means the slope stays the same, so I keep that slope negative 2 over 1. Keep it. So from my point that I've graphed, I go down 2 over 1, and draw my line. And the equation for my new line, I just found my y-intercept right here. So my slope is -2. My y-intercept is -3. So y equals -2x minus 3. That's the equation for my new line. Okay. Graph the line y equals 3x minus 1. So start at -1, up 3 over 1. Draw the line. Then I need to graph the point 6, 4. So that's right here. And this was my original line. Okay. Now we need to go through that point perpendicular to the line. So my original slope is 3 over 1. Flip it and change it. So it's going to be -1/3. So through this point, with my new slope -1/3, so I'm going to go down 1 over 3, or reverse it. And here is the line we're looking for. So my new line has a slope -1/3, and the y-intercept we just found, 6. So y equals -1/3 x plus 6. Okay, the last couple of slides, now that you've got the hang of this, hopefully, you can just make up an equation. So make up an equation, any equation, that would be parallel to each of these given. So the key, if it's parallel, is to keep your slope the same. The intercept doesn't matter on this one, so keep my slope of 3, change the intercept. Keep my slope of -2, change the intercept. Keep my slope 2/3, change the intercept. Those are all parallel. And last but not least, perpendicular. So take these slopes, make up a new equation where the slope flips and changes. So 3 over 1 turns into 1/3, and it has to be negative. So -1/3 x, and your intercept can be anything that you want. -2, make it a fraction, flip it and change it, +1/2. You can even keep the intercept the same because the slope changed, so it's not the same line. And the last one, 2/3, flip and change, -3/2. Any intercept you want. All right, you should be good on parallel and perpendicular lines now. So this was our 3rd day. It's just a general review of all of these concepts. So there's no summary to write today.